morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. We are here about to open up our first box of Arcane Rising in the Flesh and Blood TCG unboxing series, and I think we should just get right into it. So yeah, pretty excited to get into Arcane Rising. I know a lot of you were interested in moving on to the next set, and I heard you loud and clear. So here we are. As you can see from our last box of Welcome to Wrath, or Wraith, however it is pronounced, we did really well back there, as you can see some of those cards from our last box. And maybe check out the video up there in the corner to that. So here we are. We are at Arcane Rising. Very cool set. Came out in March 27th of 2020. I'm going to insert the set information here over on the right so that you can see what to expect from this box. And I'm actually pretty excited to get into this, because what they did was they went into our sort of arcane world, right? They went into spell casting, and the whole idea here is that we're going to start seeing more of the arcane and wizard actions throughout the game. And I'm pretty excited to see what this set has to offer. Oh, well, how about that first pack magic? Tekla Foundry Heart, no big deal. Just a foil legendary right off the bat. That is actually one of our chase cards. Holy cow, that's crazy. First pack of the set. How about that? Got to put that knife away. You really don't want to get hurt. Wow. Okay. All right. Let me go grab a sleeve over here in the drawer. Don't want that just sitting in a pile that I'll eventually knock over, right? Well, that is our second legendary hit. I'm pretty happy about that. Oh, brother. All right. Well, for anybody who's just tuning in, the way that we're doing things here on the channel is we're starting off with the Flesh and Blood TCG, and we are going through sort of, I guess, series by the boxes, series by the set of cards, the sets of cards that have come out with the Flesh and Blood TCG. And we started with Welcome to Wrath because it was the first set. This is Arcane Rising. And with Arcane Rising, we have the introduction of 4 new classes. So we have our Mechanologist class, which is represented by the hero Dash. And flow over, cool, with the Arcanite. Dash is again, Mechanologist hero, so what we're looking at is basically like a steampunk inventor from an area known as Metrix, which is in the world of Wrath, and she basically is like this salvage type artifact sort of character within the world of Flesh and Blood. And very cool art on that. And she's the first hero that's introduced with the set, and she kind of has she makes use of, there she is, speaking of her, Dash, makes use of things like artifacts and gadgets and cool. Oh, these cards look really cool. Really like the art in this set. But so her mechanics revolve around having an item at the start of the game, and these items, can't get it back out of here. These items can either give you a boost. So speaking of one of her equipments there. That's one of the weapons. So she like just basically gadgets that help you either attack more or cycle through the deck. Oh, foil super, very cool card. And yeah, I'm not really sure exactly. Like I said, I haven't played this character yet. But yeah, just most of the mechanics in her playstyle come from the artifacts and gadgets that she has available to her. So kind of a cool take on using items within this game. And the next class is the Archer, represented by Azalea, I think it's pronounced. And she's basically this mercenary from like this anarchy place within Wrath, known as the Pits. And she is like I said, a mercenary, so huntress for hire. Did I go right past the foil rare? Oops. And the Archer class, I like the idea, the concept. I don't know how effective it is in the action, like, or how easy it is to get a hang of actually playing, because you essentially are playing, like with a bow and arrows, where the arrows go into your arsenal zone, which is at the bottom of this play area. And you have to like load the bow with the arrows, and of course her character or her class has different things in her arsenal, no pun intended, that make, there's a super here, it easier to either reload those arrows and use them in battle. And it's a neat mechanic, but like I said, I don't know how effective it's I don't want to say it seems wonky, but it kind of does. I guess I would probably just have to play it and see how that mechanic works. But anyway, moving on to the... Sorry, I'm doing a terrible job of showing the cards here. That's the whole point of you watching, isn't it? Then we have the Runeblade class, represented by, I believe it's pronounced Viserai, who is a hero that uses both arcane power, another super, and weapons. So it's kind of a mix. Runeblade is going to be sort of your, I don't know if it'll be a mid-range play style, but it'll definitely have both the arcane abilities and then regular attacks, which is actually extremely powerful. In fact, I believe some of the more competitive areas in the game have sort of been dominated by the Runeblade. Up to a point where I think their first banning was actually based on the Runeblade class. So it's a very powerful class, even with some of the bans and stuff like that trying to balance it out. I was actually first interested, the character Viserai, sort of edgy and dark, was I was like kind of attracted to that play style, and I originally was going to go for that, and then I realized that we should be looking at the warrior stuff. And as I read more about the warrior and the story behind Dorinthia, I ended up ultimately deciding that would be the route that I would go. Enough talk about warriors. We're in the Arcane era. So the last class to be introduced, and I think this had a lot of anticipation, was the Wizard. And the playstyle is a little different. It's the first class within the Flesh and Blood TCG that has sort of instant speed attacks, meaning like you can actually follow up some damage on your opponent's turn, which is a pretty sweet thing. And That's represented by Kano in this set. Crown of Dichotomy. Very cool foil. And Kano is... Oh, I didn't really get too much into the lore. And there's probably someone that does it better, but this Kano is a wizard, the court wizard to the royal palace. And I guess something's happening in the world that the Aether, which is sort of the power behind the wizards, is either fading or something's happening to it. Get these back in focus. And Kano is essentially sent to investigate and restore that Aether. So that's kind of his story. Viserai, I'm not too sure. It looks like he's like a knight that died or something and got brought back to life by this demonastery, I think it's pronounced. So it's like this foggy, crazy, non-outer worldly place outside of Wrath. Wow, that's a cool card. And that's one of the Runeblade actions. I think it's the most expensive resource-wise card to cast. But it has, of course, a stipulation that helps it make it easier to cast. Yeah, so Viserai, I guess, reborn in that dark place. That's how he has both his melee ability and magic abilities. Azalea, I'm not sure what her story is. I think she just is a renowned mercenary that works for I don't know, maybe she works for anybody, I'm not sure. Whoever pays enough, right? And we're almost done with this box, and I didn't come up with my topic for the video. But you know what? I think because we're just introducing the set, I'm going to save the topic so we have more time to talk about it with everybody. And use that for the next video. But already getting a legendary out of this set feels promising. So hopefully we can keep that rolling. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going for yet. I added the, as usual, I'll probably add the chase cards to the beginning of the video to talk about what we're going after. But as far as what I'm actually wanting out of the set, I guess I could still look at the Runeblade. I think it's an interesting gameplay mechanic, although I think part of the reason I switched, and I don't want to say it was turned off. I generally don't like to play the most common. I mean, I use in other card games, I look at obviously what's relevant in the meta, but I don't like to use the most played style because I like to either come up. Oh, that's a majestic Sonic Boom. Awesome. And a foil rare. Very cool art. Very cool foiling on that too. But yeah, I think I like sticking to half of course I look at what's effective out there, right? Because I'm not that inventive to come up with a competitive strategy when actually playing these games, but I do like to, mix it up with some homebrewy stuff. So I don't think there's anything wrong at all with the net decking per se. But I do like taking that and then just adding a twist to it by having, sort of your own things added to those decks. So I'll stop rambling. This is our last pack. See if we get any last pack hits here. Oh, there's a foil common. Very cool for the first box to have a legendary in it. Knocked over the other cards. There's that legendary. Very happy about that. So yeah, we'll do another box of Arcane Rising. Hopefully hit something else. We really want to get that Arcanite Skullcap. That's the hot item out of this set. So yeah, tune in next time and we'll hit another box of this and keep going till we get to that over there, which is a first edition Tales of Aria box. And I'm not sure if I'm definitely going to open one for the channel. I managed to sell some more cards from another collection to sort of afford to do these unboxings, and I guess there's really no point in holding them, as I get joy out of sharing it with everybody else. So yeah, awesome. Have a great morning, afternoon, and evening. Remember, aim high. Have a great rest of your day.